All right, the Mets, they kicked off a 10-day, 10-game road trip with a win against the Angels in Anaheim, and the team got a boost from their new starting pitcher. So let's talk some Mets baseball. We're going to do it with the host of the Subway to Shea podcast, the great Anthony Rivera, joins me now. Anthony, how you doing?
We're off to a great start on this road trip, and hopefully the Mets can just continue to build and build because this playoff race is coming down to the wire.
Yeah, we're going to get into that because the playoff race is very tight in the National League, at least for the wild card spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all that shapes up as we are in the dog days of summer right now. And Anthony, let's start with Paul Blackburn, who the Mets acquired before the trade deadline. The righty made his first start for the Mets in their 5-1 victory in Anaheim on Friday night. What did you make of Blackburn's performance, and how do you see him helping this team moving forward?
It was definitely the best way he could have made a debut for the Mets. You're talking about 6 innings pitched. He only gave up 6 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He was painting the corners of the plate and doing everything he could to make sure this team got a victory. And he struggled a little bit in the beginning, but got 2 big double plays because he's mostly a contact pitcher more than a strikeout pitcher. But everything we saw from him was great. And what we want to see from this pitching staff moving forward, it's only his second start back, ironically, against the Angels. He had a bad start when he returned from his stress reaction injury to his foot. And that start did not go so well. So it's nice to see him bounce back, just not only for him, but for the Mets. So great stuff from him. He gave us length, and I'm hoping to see a lot more from Paul Blackburn as we go forward.
Yeah, good start for Paul Blackburn. Was solid, gave those innings that you like to see there, and hopefully it's a positive for the Metropolitans going forward. Now, you mentioned this, Anthony, the playoff race in the National League. The Mets, they're battling for a wild card berth, and as of Friday, they had a 46.8% chance of reaching the postseason, according to some statistics. And which teams do you consider the Mets' biggest competition for the wild card spot? Who should the Mets be keeping their eye on when they're competing for one of these 3 wild card spots in the National League?
I'm definitely keeping my eyes on 3 teams. Obviously, the Atlanta Braves, who are at the top of the wild card right now. And you also have the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have had a quick turnaround to their seasons, and the San Diego Padres. It's most important, too, to look at these tie breaks between these teams. The Mets right now, 5-5. They still got a couple of games going against the Braves. With the Diamondbacks, they're also tied 2-2. Got to keep an eye out on that. And then with the Padres, they have that sweep earlier on in the season. So they kind of have a little leverage there. All they got to do is win one more game, and they have that tie break as well. So those 3 teams I'm paying close attention to, especially the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the Atlanta Braves have always been the kryptonite to the New York Mets.
Mets fans. You didn't have to remind the Mets fans about that. They know that all well already, and we'll see how those final games of the season with the Braves shake out as well, too. Now, okay, Anthony, Mets, they've got 9 games left on this road trip, 2 more in this series with the Angels. What are you keeping your eye on with this Mets team over this very difficult stretch?
Yeah, it's such a difficult stretch because they're traveling basically all over the place, right? They start here in Anaheim, come back to St. Louis, go out back west to Colorado, and then finish off in Seattle. So this is going to be a very interesting telltale story for this Mets team. This is the biggest road trip of the year, and they got to go back out west again to face the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres later on in August. So for me, if the Mets can finish 6-4, I think that's the best case scenario. If they go 5-5, I'll be okay with that as well because they finished 500 here. But the biggest game that I'm looking forward to, and we just talked about tie breaks, it's the St. Louis Cardinals on Monday. Right now, they hold a 3-2 series lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. And if they can win that game on Monday, that's another team they can cross off the list as a team they don't have to worry about if there is a tie break in this wild card. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I'm very positive about what this team is going to do. They fought so hard all season long, and I know Mendy's going to keep them going and fighting till the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, you mentioned the word tiebreak a bunch here. I feel like we are going to be talking about that word in particular a lot over the next couple of weeks with the Mets, as they have some very important games coming up with teams they are battling for with the NL wildcard spots. We'll see how it all shakes out. Right now, the team is continuing their 10-game, 10-day road trip. A lot of games and a lot of days for the New York Mets. That is Anthony Rivera, host of the Subway to Shea podcast. Go check that out. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff there. Anthony, always a pleasure talking some Mets baseball with you. We'll do it again soon, and hopefully you get some rest over these 10 games in 10 days.
Oh, definitely, most definitely. Thank you so much, Dexter. I appreciate your time.
Anytime.